Welcome again to Whiskey Gulch. In my last video, you seen me grind a blank. This is a basic blank. I think it's roughly 5, maybe 5.5 inches. Pretty thin. I like to start with 5/16 max. That's my personal preference. A lot of people do stuff it's coming out a lot thicker. I got some rocks from some people that were pretty close to 7/16 of an inch, definitely 3/8. And it's a lot of grinding unless I want to do a flat nap first. And I really don't want to grind, flake, then grind. I really just want to, if I'm going to do it, if I'm going to do the grind, I just want to grind and have it over with. So, in my last video, I talked about this having a little bit of convexity. And as I just mentioned a moment ago about slab napping, with the convexity, I can get my flake to travel and just fade out into nothing, hopefully just past center. If I nap on a slab, which I don't have one in my hand, but that flat surface, that flake is still going to go out and it's going to curve at the center. And that's how you end up with a lot of those kind of chattery, you know, really wavy effect in the middle when it's done. Like these flakes will be real nice, but then they're wavy in the middle, or they might go out and dive and hinge out. And you don't have to put up with that if you're doing this. Glasses on for safety. Said in my last video, this is rainbow material, or from the rainbow pit. It's a little bit harder. In fact, the less color that the Davis Creek rainbow has, the harder it is. That's my experience. That's thousands and thousands and thousands of blades. You don't have to take my word for it. You know, get out there and do some and see if you can figure that out on your own. Some people may like a harder material. I don't know. This is my favorite flaker. That might be oak. I don't know, but it's just a stick that I got, and I wrapped it with leather. But I've had it for at least 8 years. And it served me well. And so, you know, you heard a lot of talk about, you know, who has the best flaker, and you know, it's a totally personal preference. I have a number of flakers. I had this one made up because I do know how to make a jig to nap really wide stuff in slab form. I'm not a fan of it. This is one of my bigger flakers. You can see the tip is for flaking a little bit wider blade. This one is the same, a little bit bigger, a little bit wider. This is for maybe 2 or 3 inch blades, 4-inch blades, and I also like to use the bevel platform. That one, I'm using the round platform here. So, back you guys up just a little bit so that maybe you can see this. I've got my leather pinched. I've got my blank in there. I've got my middle finger, my ring finger, my pinky. My pointer finger is out here so that I can have some relief underneath. I got my flaker in my hand. It sits like that, so you know we're not getting carpal tunnel from this area right here. I got my thumb on it. I got all 4 fingers wrapped around it. I'm pulling my leather tight. That's probably about 20 pounds worth of pull. Put my pressure flaker on. That's my right arm. Get stiff. I kind of lift my elbow a little bit. Put pressure on, and then I'm going to give a tiny little bit of roll back. The thing you can do is you can put pressure on. My wrist rolls back. What I heard someone say is you put your flaker on there, you put pressure on, and you give it a little flick. That's not, it doesn't work for me. It's never worked for me. That's not what I do. And if you heard that somewhere, especially if the person looks like me, it's false information. Put your flaker on, start applying pressure, and roll just a little bit. So now I have my pointer finger, my ring finger, or excuse me, my pointer finger, my middle finger, my ring finger, my pinky. I've still got the trench. Pressure, roll. Pressure, roll. Pressure, roll, and wait. It's a lot harder to do when I'm going slow to explain what's happening. My normal flaking pace is the other thing that I do when I'm going that fast without thinking, my flaker's getting a 1/4 inch spin each flake. Most of the time. Yeah, now that I said it, it's not doing it. There was one. Convexity without being too steep. Look how thin that edge is. I'll have to re-platform to get the other side done. In the last video, I said that Emery Coons taught me to do half of one side, flip it, and do half of the other side. Dale Doobie was doing one side at a time. Emery Coons got Dale to start doing half and half, and I started doing the one side at a time because I liked it better. The memory of what I just did is really fresh in my mind. If I do half and then I do half and I go back to the grinder to reset the platform and I come back here, I may not necessarily remember if there's a hard spot or if I have a flake that does not acting right. But if I'm fresh on the same side, I have a better chance of getting it done consistently on one side. So less pressure. I'm doing it looks like I'm flaking downward. I know it. I've watched my videos and I can see it. I'm actually pushing inward as much as I can and then rolling. And then when the flake comes off, my hand just naturally snaps downward. Okay, pointer finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky, and that's probably 1 3/4 down that I flaked before I switched to 2 and 2 fingers, 2 in front, 2 in back. Pull the leather tight, give it a roll. to explain something else too, that I can flake this thing really fast if I want to. And I've done it, especially when I'm doing production. But when I'm about speed and about getting them done, I don't have flake pattern consistency the way that I want it. So I'm going a little bit slower. There's a little bit of apply pressure and weight. Not a lot, but a little. And I want to explain to you why this method will not work on knapping a slab. When knapping a slab, I go really steep, I get on that thick edge, and I peel it off the bottom. I just roll my flaker and I peel it off the bottom and it shoots across. Anybody can do that. Anybody can do that. It's super easy. But it's really difficult to get this out of that. And one more time, as I've explained a bunch of times, I'm just doing art. I'm not telling anybody that I'm doing anything primitive. I'm not a Native American. I'm just some guy who has ancestors who survived using stone tools. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. I'm not knocking anybody who is. I don't have anything against it. There's a lot of nappers out there. You guys can do it how you want to do it. The main thing is that you're happy doing what you're doing. If you're not happy doing what you're doing, you know, watch a video or something that maybe explains what it is that you're trying to achieve. So I'm going to re-platform. I'm going to come back. It'll be really quick. Was close. Sounded like it broke, didn't it? Fortunately, it was just something falling out of my chip can. Okay, so I've reset my platform. However long that took, what, 30 seconds? Wasn't very long. The main thing with your platform is that once you find what works for you and what you like, that you're able to duplicate it on the second side. It can be a little bit more difficult after it's been flaked. So sometimes you have to do a flat grind on the edge before you can set that up. This is the round platform. So I have one friend who I was sharing this information with several years ago, who uses the hand pad to nap, and I think that he was having difficulty, you know, the way that you approach the pressure and everything. I don't use a hand pad, so I don't know, and I don't know how to explain to him how he can make it work, because I don't have any experience. You know, I got opinions, but you know, or ideas, but none of them, they could all be incorrect. And anyways, super fine, great artist, my favorite artist. Pointer finger, middle finger. I'm just on the tip. I'm doing fine work. At the moment, I've got my ring finger and pinky finger tucked back out of the way, just so that I can let all of this float, so that I don't break off the tip. Now I can bring them back. I've got pointer finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky. Pointer finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky. I shared this information with, I'm going to say two people that I shouldn't have shared it with. One in particular. Other than that, I've shared it with people that I'm very, very happy to share it with, and it's worked out very, very well. Other than that, I've kept it to myself for a long time, and I just feel like it's a good opportunity to get this out there. Come on close to the camera. So, thin platform and round platform, there's absolutely zero platform left on that edge. There's a little bit of dust from the flaking, but you know, it's a little bit serrated, and it always feels a little dangerous to me when I'm handling these blades, so I'm still going to take the very outsides of the serrations off. Tiny, light, very light little bit. If you have one of these tools, or you are thinking about making one and using it, less is more. It's really easy to take too much off the edge and get a very steep edge that will no longer cut. Plus, it doesn't look as good. Anyways, isn't that pretty? It's got convexity. It's got really nice flaking. So, 19 minutes start to finish to make that blade with comment. So somebody's asking me how long it takes to grind the blank. Same person who requested this video. So that's how long. Anyways, thanks for joining me, and I hope that I've offered some information that will help you enjoy flint knapping, whether you're doing abo, whether you're doing flake over grind, whatever you're doing. I just hope that you enjoy what you're doing. All right, thanks for coming. See you next time at Whiskey Gulch.